This is PIX on Politics Daily with Dan Mannarino.
Hi there, I'm Henry Rosoff, and welcome to a very special edition of PIX on Politics Daily. It's special because election season isn't over yet. We have a runoff election in New Jersey's second largest city. That would be Jersey City, and it's because nobody got a majority in November. Let's talk about the candidates. Let's talk about what happened. We have Councilman James Solomon. He's going head-to-head against former New Jersey Governor Jim McGreevey. The two got the most votes in November, so let's dive into those numbers. Councilman Solomon, he's leading the way for mayor. He has 29% of the vote. However, just over 2,000 votes separates him from former Governor Jim McGreevey in this race. And it should be noted that Election Day brought out many New Jerseyans because of the closely contested gubernatorial election also on the ballot. So getting a similar turnout for this runoff, that should be a challenge. At least that's what we're expecting. The runoff will take place a week from today. That's Tuesday, December 2nd. This was the last day to order your mail-in ballot. So if you've not done so yet, you'll need to vote in person. And a reminder, this time around with the runoff, there's no early voting. And in addition to mail-in voting, you can, of course, go to the polls on Election Day. That's probably your main option for this one. Before the polls open, the candidates will go head-to-head on our PIX 11 debate stage. That's tonight. At 6:30, we are hosting a debate diving into the most important topics in the minds of New Jersey residents. That would be affordability, of course, including housing, along with transit, taxes, and more. This race has no shortage of excitement, especially with former Governor McGreevey on the ballot. But just days after the November election, what you saw was all the other candidates who were eliminated during the November race, because, again, this is going to a runoff, they actually stood behind Councilman Solomon and endorsed him. So the field sort of coalescing against McGreevey. Jim Vassell caught up with that endorsement event and then spoke with McGreevey afterward. Let's take a listen to Jim's reporting.
We have a choice between the future and the past. We have a choice between status quo corruption and moving Jersey City forward to a more affordable future.
It's a runoff race that's getting contentious. Jersey City Councilman and mayoral candidate James Solomon gaining some big endorsements ahead of the runoff election, including 3 candidates who shared the ballot with him earlier this month: Christina Freeman, Bill O'Day, and Musab Ali.
We ran a campaign to save the city from Jim McGreevey. And as soon as our campaign was over, we looked over at Team Solomon, we shot a video together, we said, listen, we got to work together because the job's not finished.
Solomon, in what he called a unity announcement Thursday, went after his opponent Jim McGreevey, pointing out his accepting of campaign money from developers and going after his political past.
When he was the mayor of Woodbridge, he was ordered. He had a legal obligation to build over 1,300 affordable units for the people of his town, and he built 0. He didn't get 1 built. And then as governor, he worked to undermine and weaken the state's landmark affordable housing law.
Shortly after, we caught up with McGreevey to get his reaction.
Well, James Solomon's been on the council. We've seen rents go sky high. We've seen property taxes go sky high. Not a single affordable unit has been built downtown.
The former governor points to Solomon already being part of Jersey City government and therefore part of the problems the city faces in affordability and safety.
I think rationally and reasonably, you can't pretend you haven't been in government. And while you were in government, you've accomplished literally worsening the financial condition of the city, and most importantly, Jersey City families.
The runoff election day is set for Tuesday, December 2nd, and while there is no early in-person voting, you can still vote by mail, and you can request a mail-in ballot up to 1 week before the election. In Jersey City, Jim Vassell, PIX 11 News.
Now let's go ahead and bring in Democratic strategist Trip Yang. Trip, we really appreciate you joining us here in the special edition of PIX on Politics.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So let's get into this. We were just going over some of the endorsements that Solomon has racked up. We were just talking offline. Of course, during early rounds of this, Mr. McGreevey got the endorsement of Phil Murphy. How much do endorsements matter at this point in the game? Does Solomon have the edge with the rest of the field coalescing around him?
I'll say this. When it comes to a December runoff election, it is all about turnout. So in a lot of elections, especially in a very high turnout Democratic primary, high turnout November general election, maybe an endorsement doesn't matter as much as some folks think it may. But in essentially a runoff election, in December, very low turnout. It's about galvanizing bases. I do think endorsements here matter. And of course, the lean here is towards James Solomon, because ever since he edged McGreevey, recently, he has actually been able to corral the rest of the field. They have come and endorsed Solomon for the most part, and as well as various labor unions, right? The CWA Union, Communication Workers Union, powerful on both sides of the Hudson River. HTC was a fairly early endorser. Of course, they have doubled down on Solomon, for example. The Hotel Workers Union, also very, very powerful. So in terms of political endorsements, it is clearly leaning towards Solomon. And by the way, ever since the first round of this election, Solomon has actually been growing his lead if you look at some of the polling. So I would say the December runoff, it leans Solomon overall.
And McGreevey, of course, has the name recognition. Most people, you struggle to find someone in New Jersey who doesn't know something about him. Does that play in? I mean, when you have so much fewer voters as we're expecting, in all likelihood headed to the polls than we did in the November election when the gubernatorial race was really driving turnout, does that name recognition matter? Does it help? Does it hurt?
Name recognition is not what it used to be. If we just look across the Hudson River for a lot of parallels, in New York City, in June, upstart Zohran Mamdani defeated Democratic Zion Andrew Cuomo. Cuomo said, I got whooped so bad, I want a second round of this beatdown in November. And so when you look at Jersey City, you see similar parallels. Solomon's someone who's been elected since 2017. He was the Ward E council member. Ward E is downtown Jersey City. High civic engagement, high turnout, an excellent base. Solomon carved out an independent profile these past 8 years, often really, quite frankly, at odds with Mayor Phillips' administration. He has really carved out his own niche, his own accomplishments, his own progress. Now, McGreevey, everyone in New Jersey knows who McGreevey is, accomplished state legislator, accomplished state legislator. He had a relatively short tenure as governor before he had to resign in disgrace. But look, right now, voters don't really care whether you're from New York or New Jersey or any other state, how long your political resume is. They want to know what your vision is for the future, for 2026 and beyond. And right now, that fresh start, that fresh new era, it goes with Solomon.
And McGreevey has kind of been saying, and I do see those parallels between what happened in New York City with Mr. Cuomo and Mr. Mamdani. McGreevey's making the case, what Solomon's proposing is unrealistic, or he doesn't have the chops to accomplish it. I mean, will this play out the same way it played out in New York City, or what are the perhaps key differences here, that may tip the scales for McGreevey, if that's at all possible at this point?
So I would say McGreevey's best chance was, quite frankly, to have a very large margin in the November general election so that he could avoid the scenario he's in now. Because, quite frankly, we are 1 week away from the December runoff election, and both polling and endorsements are swirling towards Solomon. In politics, the political gravity is that people want to be with the winner. So maybe they stay neutral, or maybe they support you in the first round of the election. But if you underperform, in November, McGreevey got edged by Solomon. The polling since then has shown Solomon expanding his coalition and his polling lead. It doesn't look well for McGreevey. What you really wanted to do was really make a dynamic statement with a strong performance in November, so that then you could be the beneficiary of all these endorsements in the weeks to come. That has gone to Solomon, not McGreevey.
And that perhaps informs what we could see on the debate stage tonight. In other recent debates and forums, you've seen McGreevey really be quite aggressive. Is there potentially a game-changing moment we could see on the debate stage tonight? Is that what it would take for Mr. McGreevey at this point?
Well, when you see someone attack someone else, it's usually because that first candidate is trailing, right? That's another law of political gravity. Typically, when you're the front runner, you are the one who's receiving attacks. So at the end of the day, right now, what's going on with McGreevey is that he has to find something. And, we got 6-7 days to go here until the election. McGreevey has to find something that will really animate with voters. Keep in mind a couple things. Solomon is not a first-time candidate. He's been in office since 2017, a Ward E council member, so a fairly high-profile council member in Jersey City representing downtown. So in a lot of ways, his record has been scrutinized in some ways already. They've gone the course of a mayoral campaign. Many of these candidates have been running for Jersey City mayor since 2024. So McGreevey has to find something. I don't know what it is, but time is running out for McGreevey.
Your time is running out. Apropos, because I have to let you go, but I appreciate you joining us. I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight in person on our post show following the debate, but we'll have to leave it there. Thank you, Trip.
Thank you so much.
And when we come back, our New Jersey reporter, Jim Vassell, will sit down or will show you sit-down interviews with both McGreevey and Solomon, help you get to know the candidates even better heading up to this 6:30 debate. Stick around. Welcome back to this special edition of PIX on Politics Daily, the race for Jersey City mayor. Of course, we've got this big runoff election debate coming up tonight at 6:30 on PIX 11 across all of our platforms. Ahead of that, let's take a listen to New Jersey reporter Jim Vassell sit down with Councilman James Solomon so you get to know one of the two candidates who will be on our debate stage tonight.
We can all agree that the crux of this election is all centered on affordability.
That's right.
Making Jersey City more affordable. My specific question is, what will you do to, or how will you create more affordable housing units in Jersey City in the parts that need them most?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the key question of the election. Who can make Jersey City more affordable? Because when I'm out knocking on doors, what I hear over and over again is that the next rent increase or the next property tax increase is going to force people out of the city that they love. So from day one, I have been focused on making Jersey City more affordable, and specifically on building genuinely affordable units across Jersey City. So our number one way of doing it is getting tough on developers. Developers have taken so much from Jersey City, it is time for them to give back. And it's time for them to build for all of Jersey City, not just a small slice of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to require the developers to put 20% affordable housing in all large new developments. And we're going to say affordable that is genuinely affordable. So some rents $1,000 a month, some rents $1,500 a month. Rents that working people in Jersey City can afford. And that's going to be spread out across the city because developers are building these projects across the city. So it won't be concentrated in one neighborhood or another. We'll have some downtown, some in Journal Square, some on the west side, some in the Heights, some in Greenville.
So that 20%, that is something that's not currently in place right now.
Not currently in place.
Has anything like that ever been in?
We have projects that are moving forward with some affordable housing in them, which is important, but we have never had that strict requirement. And that is what needs to change in Jersey City, because the last 10 years of Jersey City has been luxury only. It has been luxury only housing, and unfortunately what we have seen is the biggest rent increases and the biggest property tax increases in our city's history.
Does gentrification play a role in that? I mean, is there
absolutely.
too much of it or too little of it?
Absolutely. I think for me, the core of it is we have to make sure development benefits everybody. And I think what we've seen with gentrification in Jersey City is that gentrification has only benefited a small slice of people. And that we have to make sure that we revitalize communities, not gentrify them.
All right, so moving on to the next question. So, if elected, what would, you're sworn in on January 1st or whatever it is, what is the first thing you're going to do as mayor?
So the very first thing is we're going to put forward protections for renters. Right now, we have had renters get rent increases 20-30%. A young woman on Central Avenue told me her rent went from $1,500 to $2,500 in 2 years, which is nuts. And she's like, I love Jersey City. Her 6-year-old's in school in Jersey City, but she feels like, I think I have to leave because the next rent increase, I can't pay more than $2,500 for a 1-bedroom. So for me, it's put in place protections for renters, cap how much rent can go up, and that is step number one.
All right, so the first thing you'll do is put in protections for renters. Does that come by way of an executive order?
Good question. So a couple different things. So the first thing is an executive order to change the way that we're enforcing the existing rent protections. And then the second thing is introduce legislation to create caps on how much rent can go up.
And then that
gets passed it, exactly.
Right, so that's not state legislation, that's
city. Exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah,
100%.
I got you, just making sure.
100%.
All right. And then, I guess, open question, why should Jersey City vote for you rather than Jim
McGreevey? Absolutely. Look, Jersey City needs change. It needs an affordable Jersey City, and it's not going to become affordable if we go back to the same corrupt machine playbook that has failed residents of Jersey City year after year after year. And the fundamental difference between me and the former governor, I take $0 from Jersey City developers. He's taken nearly $1 million, including from developers that fund the Trump movement like Charles Kushner and the Kushner family. So I'm going to fight for the people of Jersey City, deliver genuinely affordable housing, protect tenants, and basically restabilize property taxes by cutting corruption. And the former governor is more of the same.
Same developers, same machine bosses, same politics that delivered a city that is increasingly unaffordable.
So you kind of answered my next question, but my follow-up question:
okay.
If Jim McGreevey were to win the election, would he be a good mayor for Jersey City?
You know, I think unfortunately the former governor's track record is he was an executive, and that as an executive he had to resign in disgrace. He had a trail of corruption that followed him, and he didn't serve the people, and in fact weakened our affordable housing laws and built no affordable housing as mayor of Woodbridge. So I do not think that track record speaks to him being a good mayor.
Now let's get to the other candidate that will be on our debate stage this evening. We also sat down with former Governor McGreevey, of course, looking to make a big comeback some 20 years after he resigned the top office in the state. Here's Jim Vassell once again.
Affordability is obviously at the crux of this mayor's race, because that's what kind of all the candidates kind of agreed upon. That was the number one issue. So as it relates to specifically to affordable housing, what will you do to create more affordable housing units in areas of Jersey City that need them most?
Well, Jimmy, I mean, I think the first problem is what's happened over the past 8 years while Councilman Solomon has been in office. I mean, the reality is our property taxes have gone through the roof. Jersey City had the highest increase in property taxes in the state of New Jersey. And rents were among the highest in the nation. So for me, part of the affordability crisis is controlling what municipal government does. And right now, Jersey City has a $150 million shortfall. And so what are we doing? We're selling off all of our land in a fire sale. And the reality is that $150 million could result in a 30% increase in the municipal portion of the property tax bill. So for me, affordability is not only providing more affordable housing, particularly senior citizen housing, but controlling costs. And unfortunately, Councilman Solomon and his Democratic socialists have all these ideas for spending money. They want to increase spending for care for $341 million. They want to build 5,000 units of affordable housing for $1,000 a month. That will cost $2.95 billion. And so for me, part of this is not making a bad situation worse. And my gut tells me all the big giveaways is going to drive Jersey City off the cliff so that working families won't be able to afford here. What I think we should do is work with our faith-based institutions to provide for upzoning, whether our churches, our temples, and our mosques, to build up for senior citizen housing, and then require a market rate housing 20% affordable. But the idea that Jersey City families, the working families, are going to subsidize $1,000 a month rents for the foreseeable future will bankrupt the city and destroy working families. Working families, people like myself, won't be able to afford to live in here. And that's the problem.
Yeah, so you mentioned that figure, $1,000 monthly rents. Something your opponent told me was that what his solution to this problem is to require developers to put in 20% of their units as affordable housing.
I'm all for 20%, right. But you can't get $1,000. I mean, people's phone bills are $220. It's disingenuous. It's a lie to say you're going to do $1,000. The only way you can do $1,000 a month rents is if the rest of us subsidize it. So you're asking Miss Senior Citizen, you're asking somebody on a fixed income, you're asking a working family. It's going to cost $2.95 billion with a B. It's going to be staggering. It's going to crush. And that's why, I love Christmas. I love Santa Claus. But I realize it happens one day. What I find so disingenuous, and James, candidly, has never managed anything. He's never had a full-time job. And God bless him. He comes from a family of wealth, and he's privileged. But at the end of the day, for working families, this is our lives. These are our homes. This isn't like a socialist game. This is how we pay our bills and raise our families.
Mm-hmm. So the idea of $1,000 or $1,500 rents is not realistic.
Well, I mean, he said $1,000 rents, and then he doubled down to say $750 a month rents. That's like nuts. It's a lie.
It's not realistic is what you're saying.
No, it's worse than not realistic. It's a lie. I mean, nobody's done it in the country unless it's heavily subsidized. And so what James wants us to do, Jersey City working families, to fulfill his crazy socialist agenda, is to put $2.95 billion of our money to finance these rents. That's insane. That's not making the affordability crisis better. He's going to drive up debt. He's going to drive up property taxes. Jersey City property taxes are killing people. If Solomon is elected, we're all going to move out. And that's, to me, is what the crux of the matter is.
And so your solution, or part of your solution, you said, is to reach out to, like you said, the faith-based organizations.
I have done that. And so you look at St. Joseph's on Pavonia, you look at the mosque on Montgomery, they have so much land. You look at the temple at the shul on JFK, they have land. So basically, instead of just letting developers build up, you allow houses of worship, and you marry and you twin development with houses of worship, so that the house of worship is going to own that land and own that site, and that you can build up so that senior citizens can walk down and they can walk into that church, they can walk into that mosque, they can walk into that shul, and you're working. The two biggest costs are labor and also the cost of land. And if you have the cost of land diminished or flat, you can provide for affordable housing there, as well as the 20%. But to say that you're going to give people $1,000 a month rent or $750 a month rent isn't just disingenuous. Candidly, old-fashioned English, it's a lie. It's a falsehood. The only way you do it, Jimmy, is if all of us subsidize that. And that means we not only have to subsidize it for construction, we have to subsidize it for the life as long as that person stays there. That $1,000 a month rent is not just for 1 year, 12 months. It could be for 5 years or 10 years. That means the taxpayers of Jersey City, that's coming out of their wallet. That's insane. I mean, I'm saying respectfully, Jersey City, Jim McGreevey is, I realize my flaws, but I'm not going to bankrupt Jersey City. I'm not going to destroy working families. This is our lives. This isn't some sort of socialist game. This is real life.
Should be an interesting one at 6:30 tonight on the PIX 11 debate stage, as we have both Mr. McGreevey and Mr. Solomon, and my partner here at the PIX on Politics political unit, Dan Mannarino, will be moderating it all. When we come back, one final segment in this special edition of PIX on Politics Daily, we'll talk about how to cast your vote. Stick around. Welcome back to the special edition of PIX on Politics Daily, all leading up to our big debate tonight on PIX 11 across all of our platforms at 6:30, the race for Jersey City mayor. It's a full half hour of questions on the top issues facing Jersey City residents, hosted by Dan Mannarino. Both James Solomon and Jim McGreevey will appear together on our debate stage, and directly following the debate, we will have a post show both on air and online and PIX 11 Plus. I'll be hosting that at 7 o'clock, and it will include one-on-one follow-up interviews that Dan will be doing with each of the two candidates on the debate stage. Plus, don't forget to vote. You need to send in your mail-in ballot. Get it postmarked by December 2nd. That's the same day that polls open across Jersey City. One day only. No early voting again this time around. That's key. People are getting used to early voting. No early voting in this special runoff. You can vote all the way from 6 a.m. that day all the way to 8 p.m. And that night, as results come in, we here at PIX on Politics and PIX 11 will have you completely covered. Thank you for joining this special edition of PIX on Politics Daily. Be sure to watch the debate hosted by my colleague Dan Mannarino at 6:30. I'll be joining you for the post show at 7 o'clock. So if you're just plugging in to this special runoff election, or you're an election geek like me, a big night here on PIX 11, and we'll see you a little bit later today.